Hello everyone, Milan here. Welcome back to the AI World War. Last time, Claude united Belarus, Russia, and Kazakhstan into a Eurasian Federation, as well as moving troops from China to the Strait of Malacca, and starting an attack on Egypt. While ChatGPT secured the Panama Canal, secured some of its naval routes and tried to start an uprising in Venezuela. But that didn't really go well. Now we're here in day 2, and it's time for their next actions. So first up, again, is ChatGPT, whose first action is to reinforce and expand the Panama defense and make it concrete. They want to send an additional carrier task force and 2 attack submarines and augment here the Panama garrison with rapid reaction marines and air defenses, harden east and west approaches with minesweeping slash ASW screens, and improved radar slash early warning. So they're trying to further secure the Panama Canal. Let's see how this goes for them. Again, very well. Okay, so carrier task force to okay. I guess I have an idea for how to show this. So, they did even better than, wait. There we go. So, they're just going to further secure the Panama Canal. Okay, that's better. Now you can vaguely see Panama. So, things are going well for GPT in the canal. Let's see what Claude wants to do. Their first action is continuing the assault on Egypt. Let's see if it goes better for them than it did last time, because they didn't make too much progress. Spin the wheel. A 10. So, they're making further progress. The Algerian front is moving forward, and the Sudanese front is able to capture most of the... Wait, I've been doing it on the wrong layer. Oopsies. So they're able to continue the movement of Algerian troops and almost get them to Egypt. Then they're able to capture the Egyptian southern border and most of its western border. So they're doing okay. They have not made too much progress yet, though. Okay. Then ChatGPT's second action is to contest the Malacca Strait. they're going to rapidly deploy a forward naval task group to the South China Sea and station 2 carrier/escort groups and allied ships from Japan, Australia, and Philippines bases within range, and send submarines to interdict Claude transports along the Malacca approaches, begin coordinated patrols with Japan/Australia, and request basing rights in the Philippines and Singapore if available. Okay. So they're going after the South China Sea to try to block off what China is aiding to Indonesia. So, we all know the South China Sea is... my stylus! We all know the South China Sea is... my stylus! I'm not sure if this even counts as a stylus. We all know the South China Sea is right here. So, it's time to see just how well things can go for GPT. Roll the dice. They get an 11. Okay. So, I'm going to say that the Philippines did not allow them to set up base there. But, they are able to send some troops in, some from Japan, some from the Philippines, and, they start coming, from Australia. Actually, they probably would... No, I feel like they would probably want to go around Indonesia. Where to go? So, they start moving Australian troops towards the South China Sea. And with an 11, I am going to say that they're able to, like, do this, so they are able to cut off China. Actually, that might be a bit generous. Probably more like that. But they're still able to cut off China for the time's sake. Okay. So they grab up the naval control of this area of the South China Sea. And then we move on to the second action of Claude, in which they go back over to the Middle East, because of course they do. They roll 15, and their action is to unite Iran, Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia into a Middle Eastern energy alliance. I asked them earlier what country they would want to have their capital be the capital of the Union, and they said Saudi Arabia. And if it's getting a 15, then I'm going to say that that probably works for them. So, first things first, erase the capitals of some countries off the map. Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Syria, and then step 2 is removing the divide between them. You could say, oh, it's a 15, they didn't get a nat 20, so one of them doesn't join in, but I'm going to say that it's good enough by my standards. So, this is now a pretty big power in this area. Alright, next we go to ChatGPT, whose third action is cyber and covert escalation aimed at the Eurasian Federation's logistics and oil routes. So they're going to launch targeted cyber attacks and covert special operations to degrade Kazakh/Russian rail and pipeline coordination used by the new Federation, simultaneously increase secret support to Venezuelan opposition, specialization advisors, better comms gear, limited sabotage on export terminals, escalate covert funding and intelligence, but avoid overt troop deployments. So, they're doing a couple things here, but let's see if any of it will work. They roll a 2. So, I'm going to say that none of this works. The Venezuelan rebels, they're killed. They all die. And, so, targeted cyber attacks and covert operations. So, I'm guessing that Kazakh/Russian, so maybe around here. But it probably wouldn't work well. I'm just going to put that there. Things are not going good for ChatGPT. Ooh. Okay. For Claude's last action, they're planning to launch a naval assault on the Philippines using combined forces from Indonesia and reinforced positions near the Strait of Malacca. Interesting. And they get a 17. Oh, goodness. So they're launching a naval assault on the Philippines. They make a landing here. Wait. They make a landing here and are able to take over this island. And then they also land troops from other areas. So they're able to take over this part of the Philippines. Then, I mean, a 17's pretty good. So they push forward and take over more Philippine islands. So I'm going to say they are able to take over this and make a landing there, and are able to successfully take over a lot of the Philippines. So that definitely went well for Claude there. Their support from China is blocked off, but they still had a lot of troops from Malacca there. But some of them are sent away, so there's less troops inside of the Strait of Malacca now. Things are not going well for the Philippines here. Well, it looks like that is going to be it for this episode. Things definitely went better for Claude here, at least from my point of view. Like, they've taken over most of the Philippines, have Egypt completely surrounded, have a big superpower by uniting some strong Middle Eastern countries that they have. Like, things are looking pretty good for Claude here. And ChatGPT is having Egypt be squeezed out. The Philippines is barely hanging in there. Not all of their trade routes are secure. They don't control all of the South China Sea. They weren't able to set up stuff in the Philippines, which is now being attacked. They have a lot of control over the Panama Canal, but that's really the most that they have. And after Claude takes over Egypt, they'll have control over the Suez. So, that won't be good for GPT. But tune in next time to see which one of these AIs will win the A prize of bragging rights. Eternal bragging rights. Well, that's it for this one. See y'all next time in AI World War. Bye.